Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee Books and Rain, and we are talking about a very interesting book today. Um, I have no coffee. I have finished it. My cup is actually sitting right here where I just kind of stuck it, and I haven't. I guess I could go make some tea, something nice and warm. I am getting kind of chilly in my apartment as I'm starting to pull my sleeves up over my hands, and I'm kind of getting in my chair all comfy cozy like as well. Kind of like this chair, although I think I want to get a different one where I can kind of like sit crisscross applesauce like, and this one has little arms on it, and I can't really do that comfortably. Then my legs kind of sit on the edges of it a little uncomfortably. But anyway, we're not really talking about my chair, are we? We are talking about books. And this particular book was wild. Just absolutely wild. Now, I do give it 4 stars for just the simple entertainment of it. If you like Alice in Wonderland with a kind of a fresher perspective, this one is probably going to be along that alley. And it's called Bits of String Too Small to Save by Ruby Peru. It is considered Persnickety Girl Saves the World #1. And like I said, it is wild. Now, when I picked it up, I saw this black and white cover with this like kind of ornate looking design, and for some reason I didn't read anything about it. Now, I didn't mind not reading anything about it. Sometimes if you guys are like stick around for any period of time on this particular channel, I am like kind of an impulse requester when it comes to NetGalley. If I see I've got some free time or some free space, and I need some books to fill my time or my calendar on YouTube, then I will let the covers or the artwork draw my attention. And this particular artwork drew in my attention. It looked eccentric. It looked kind of almost a little vintage, and I think I was hoping for something horror, spooky, mystery. That is what, and plus the title called Bits of String Too Small to Save gave me the feeling of, I don't know, orphans being thrown away. Gave me, I don't know, Charles Dickens, I don't know, Tiny Tim. It gave me Little Orphans in the Cold. Like, please, sir, may I have some more? Um, it kind of tugged at my heartstrings a little bit with the intrigue of needing to know more, not only about this particular title, but about this cool cover. Again, I did not read anything about the book before requesting it. So, I do think this was like an auto approve. I want to say, did it come from Macmillan Audio? I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and check in my NetGalley, but it might have been one of my auto approval like audiobooks, because I did have this one in an audiobook, and it was, again, wild. So let us dive into the summary, and then we will go a little bit from there. Elizabeth Ann von Erp never intended to leave the safety of her suburban No Oaks, but when her eccentric grandma peels around the corner in a jacked up, pimped out Original Orange International Scout and shouts that it's time to break the space-time continuum, they dive through a badger hole into Bumble Green. There, Elizabeth Ann joins forces with a cast of characters to save a forested dystopia from greedy watchmakers, toxic babies, and a particularly obnoxious Lothario. In this new world of seduction and betrayal, illustration and intuition, black arts and purple speckled fruits, you, dear reader, must ask yourself, will magic avenge our heroine? Will technology save her? Or are Elizabeth Ann and her gang of malcontents already too late to repair the beautiful, mysterious, and troubled land of Bumble Green? It was a little lengthy for what I was expecting. Again, I had the audiobook, and I want to say it was something like 14 hours long. Surprisingly longer than I thought it was going to be. This says the Kindle edition is 470 pages. Again, super surprising. Now this also said it was first published May 15th of 2017 by Pangloss Press. I do not know if perhaps the edition I received is the audiobook version that is now currently available. The only critique that I have with regards to the audiobook version, and I will, my biggest like favorite thing about the audiobook version is it's a full cast. Like, there are lots of people doing the voices, and it is really phenomenal and well done. The one thing that I think for me was a little bit annoying, and again, just me, but at each chapter, it would be like chapter 15, and then there would be like a little musical interlude for 15 seconds ish or so every single time. And it's the same musical interlude every single chapter. And some of the chapters are short, like 2 or 3 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes long in audiobook time. And so I would have to hear that interlude so incredibly frequently. I was like, that was probably the one thing. I was like, I don't need this musical interlude. Everything else, great, spot on. Love these voices, love the music, love the intonations and the whiz bang pop sounds, all the fun. It really was a raucous sort of fun, but I think that was the one thing that I was just like, oh my goodness, do I have to hear this interlude this frequently? But everything else. Now, here's also the funny thing. It kind of markets itself as a little bit YA, but it comes across, at some points, it comes across as middle grade with some weirdly raunchy bits. And I wouldn't let a middle grader read it because they would be asking you questions you don't want to answer. Now, me as an adult, I would thought it was hilarious. But it comes across, like I said, as it has this Alice in Wonderland vibe. And the reason I say this is because we start off at the very beginning. Sorry, I'm having a phone call. I'm not going to answer it. It's fine. We start off with Elizabeth Ann, who is waiting for her grandmother to show up. And so she's just waiting for her grandmother to show up. And her mom is like, no, your grandma's not coming today. I'm going to put her in a home. And Elizabeth Ann really doesn't understand because grandma always comes. Doesn't even matter. Grandma's coming. And so Elizabeth Ann, she's like, okay, well, I'm going to take Jackson for a walk. And Jackson sounds like a big golden retriever. Well, Jackson gets super excited because we also get the voice of what's going on in Jackson's head of he smells a monkey. And so Jackson decides that he's going to go bolting down the street after this smell that smells like a monkey. And so I just imagine this little tiny 10-year-old girl who is probably, petite sized at best, the way she's described, flapping in the breeze behind this very large golden retriever. And so we have this scene playing out in what is a very funny manner in my head. And in this particular suburban area of No Oaks, there are like no trees. This entire neighborhood sounds awful. There are just no trees. But there is one particular tree that has been completely fenced off. Well, Elizabeth Ann hears her grandmother's car. She hears it. She knows this sound well. And Grandma's coming to save the day. And Elizabeth Ann's like, I thought you weren't coming. Grandma said they're going to put you, or Mom said they were going to put you in home. And Grandma's like, they can try. She's like, but I got to get back to Bumble Green. And Elizabeth Ann's like, what? Where? Well, that's about the time they make it to the tree. And Elizabeth Ann and Jackson go flying over the fence. And now they're over the fence, and there's a monkey talking into what seems to be some sort of like little walkie-talkie telephone, or maybe like one of those little earpieces or something. Um, this is where it is very Alice in Wonderland-ish to me. She follows this pretty much this monkey through a portal and into the realm of Bumblegreen. And so she goes through, Jackson goes through, Jackson Golden Retriever, and Grandma ultimately follows behind. Now, from what it sounds like, and just letting you guys know, Grandma is from here. Grandma knows. That's why Grandma is so smart. And Grandma, like, was already going to go back to Bumblegreen. Although Elizabeth Ann doesn't know anything about Bumblegreen, even if she is Grandma's granddaughter. Jackson doesn't know anything about Bumblegreen because he's a dog. However, he smells monkeys, so he's going to go. Well, they don't all land in the same place when they get sucked through this portal, and so now Elizabeth Ann has got to try to figure out her way through Bumblegreen while trying to figure out her way back to Grandma and maybe find Jackson on her way through. She first meets a couple of mosquitoes, one that like is learning how to buzz really loud, and then she meets a sloth, and like so she's meeting a lot of different characters. And again, this is something that kind of reminded me of Alice in Wonderland, meeting all these different just wild characters that are very arbitrary and in their own little worlds, in their own little heads. And it kind of reminded me of like the mock turtle race, of having to do these, like, you know, you gotta run to get dry or what have you. I don't remember what it was, but there's all that different things going on in Alice in Wonderland as well. Now somebody else had made a comment that they didn't see the parallel between the Alice in Wonderland. They thought it was like, they thought it was, what did they think it was? They said Pippi Longstocking meets Wizard of Oz. I mean, Pippi Longstockings was kind of mischievous, and Wizard of Oz is kind of like, you know, going towards, you land in a foreign land, you know, kind of a dystopian kind of, well, yeah, kind of a foreign land. You kind of pick up a ragtag bunch of misfits and you work towards the end. I mean, it's not far off from Alice in Wonderland in a lot of different ways, if you really kind of want to think of it in that way. I mean, a portal and a tornado can really kind of be equated in the same thing, and you get transported to a different world, then you have to make a journey to try to find your way back home. Yeah, I feel like Alice in Wonderland and Wizard of Oz is really pretty kind of equivalent in a lot of different ways. But I do think the narration was really fun in the audiobook. Again, back to the writing style was silly in some ways, very fantastical. Again, you're going to have to kind of suspend reality of like, we're not in this realm of existence, so things are purposefully and intentionally weird. When I say whimsical, it's not just like flowers singing, you know, golden afternoon or what have you. It's craziness, lots and lots of craziness happening. And so it is very imaginative, and it does come off a little obscure maybe at times, if not just a little wild. And I think that's kind of why I describe it in that way. It was just a wildly fantastical ride. And like I said, I give it 4 stars because really did have a good time reading it. But I never knew the twists and turns it was going to have. Now, one of the other parallels I did find with Alice in Wonderland is the Duchess and the baby. Now, in Alice in Wonderland, the Duchess, she goes to the Duchess's house, and then there's like a Duchess and like the baby, but I think the baby's like a pig, and then there's a Pepper situation happening and all this sort of stuff. Well, in this particular book, there is a Duchess situation and a baby, And the Duchess is allergic to her own baby. Like when the baby shows up, she's like, "Okay, bring me my baby. He needs to be nursed." Well, as soon as the baby comes out, like she is sneezing her head off because apparently she is allergic to her own baby. And that's kind of where in the summary they were talking about the baby being toxic. It's like they are allergic to like the babies. It's so weird. It's so funny. But I thought I do wonder if I kind of did a reread, like maybe a read of the physical book, if I would pick up on more stuff other than just audiobooking it. I thought it was absurd in some really fun ways, and then I just thought it was absurd in some absurd ways. But there are some parts I would not read to kids because I just was like, wow, okay, that's a lot. And then there were some parts that I was like, man, kids would really enjoy this. Because again, Elizabeth Ann is supposed to be about 10 years old. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. I'm going to let you guys figure out what you think. Read the description. See what you like. Read some reviews if you want to see what other people are thinking as well. I think it's still getting about 4 stars on Goodreads as of right now, but I think it's a book that's kind of flying under the radar. If it's been out since 2017, it might have been an independent publish at first and might maybe be getting a bigger release audiobook wise, at least right now. So maybe we can get a little bit of traction. I don't know. We can see. But until next time, I want to thank you so much for being here. I hope you'll like and subscribe. I hope you will leave me a comment. Let me know how you're doing and what you're reading and how your holidays are going. What's your favorite warm beverage? Maybe leave a comment of your favorite warm beverage. And I will see you guys on the next page, and I hope you have a great one.